introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Aminata and my surname's Turay.
Excellent. Could you explain how you became a client of the Mobile Single Parents Project?
Well, I was on the bus and I met Sabrina and her partner on the bus, and she gave me a card.
Okay. And at the time, was you experiencing any difficulties?
Well, I was experiencing a lot of difficulties as it comes. I was in a 2-bedroom flat with my 2 boys at the time. How would I explain it? The place was so full of damp and mould. My older son, Zachary, actually developed breathing problems as a result of the bad conditions that we were living in. And Sabrina helped me because I ended up making some positive decisions with her support, and I was able to move from a 2-bedroom flat in Ilford to a 3-bedroom house, which was the best move I'd ever made in Edmonton Green. And I'm now living in a house which was a factory before converted into a house. And I'll tell you something, I'm not sorry, because my living room is the lake.
Wow. Could you explain basically what benefits you've had since being a client of the Mobile Single Parents Project?
I've had a lot of positive feedback in terms of support. Sabrina's done a lot of research for me. I've had appointments at the British Library. I've contacted the patenting agency because I was given the number by Sabrina, and I contacted them and I got the paperwork to. I'm in a process of patenting my inventions at the moment, and I'm believing in God that everything will go well.
And could you explain now, are you feeling inspired or motivated in any way at the moment?
I'm feeling very, very inspired because of the positive decisions that I made. I'm in a more, because of the changes that I made to my lifestyle. I'm at home in a bigger house. My children are in a more better situation. So I'm more able now to think more clearly and make positive decisions towards the better of my children's future and myself, yeah.
And do you feel that perhaps you could have got the same help anywhere else, or do you think it's unique to here?
No, I will definitely say that it's unique to the Single Parents Project. Reason being, because I had tried to get a lot of help already. When I moved down to this area from Hackney, I tried to find out what projects were available through funding, and I found out about a Brooks project, but once again it wasn't available for people who are my age. It was for younger people in terms of counselling and support. So I was really pleased when I found out about the Single Parents Project through Sabrina, because I was a single parent at the time.
Brilliant. And is there any advice that you would like to give to other single parents that might be in a similar situation or even worse?
I would say to them that they should go and get as much help out there as possible. If they can find a project like the Single Parents Project, it will definitely benefit them. Because as a parent, we always must strive towards making positive decisions about our lives and try to get as much help as possible, especially when you're a lone parent raising a child by yourself. Because we often find that we're lonely and we're isolated, and every support that one can get is a great help.
Oh, that's very good, actually. And basically, I'd like you to just share that lovely story that you told me about the first time you held your son.
Oh, let me see. My firstborn son, Zachariah, his name is Ali Isa Zachariah. The word Zachariah means God has remembered me. Because I named him that name because before I met my son, I would say that my life was empty. I remember because I had a cesarean birth, so I was awake for the birth. And I remember when he was cut, and he was like, I was cut, and then they showed him to me. And it's like I was very emotional. I was so happy. I was, one might say it was hormones, but I just felt at the top of the world at that moment in time. And I felt that when I saw him, that he was filled with goodness. It's like when he was taking, with each breath he took, it was like when God breathed life into Adam. That's the goodness that I saw in him, because I knew that here was this little human being which had been given to me to raise, that God had blessed me with, who was made in the image of God, you know, and he was just filled with goodness, and he was filled with goodness, and the sky will be his limit. And I always tell him how good it was the first time I saw him and how blessed I felt, you know. It's like he was filled with goodness and he made me feel good. And he's full of, what's that word? What's that word?
Is it love or?
No, potential.
Potential, okay.
He's full of potential, of good things though. Everything good that he wanted to be, he could be. And I let him know this every day. Because he always says to me, tell me the story, Mummy. And I say to him, what story? He says, the story of when I was born and when you saw me for the first time. So I'll tell him about how I held him in my arms, even though I was full of anaesthetic. But I still tell him.
No, that's a beautiful story to share. Just one last question on the close. What services or support are presented to you as a client? Is it numbers? Is it what kind of different categories have we assisted with?
Well, you've assisted me with in terms of like getting letters towards housing, basic counselling as well, just listening, one-on-one support, so that I could get the best kind of like advice, so I could make the right decision that I needed to. Because at the time I was pregnant with my daughter, who's my third born, my little Mercedes. I wasn't in the right frame of mind because I was very filled with hormones. And, you know, the Single Parents Project helped me to focus on what was needed, because I was able to step out of my situation and take an overall bird's eye view of my situation to make a decision which would be best for the family, to benefit my children. It really did.
Amy, you've inspired me today. Hopefully you go on to inspire others, and I'm sure it will happen. Thank you.
Yes.